Hello students, welcome back to Daily Newspaper Analysis. Today is 8th of June and for today we shall be discussing these four important articles. So I took articles from PIB, The Hindu as well as Indian Express. So mainly our focus will be for the prelims. The first important article is related to GSECs, that is government securities. So this article is from PIB. So basically government is trying to promote more and more foreign investment in the government securities. So in this topic, it is very important to know the basic concepts of government securities. What are the type of government securities? What kind of investments are allowed in government securities, etc. Second article is related to Panchayat Advancement Index. So see, nowadays UPSC is asking the parameters also, or the UPSC is asking very basic things related to any index or related to any report. So earlier, if I will talk about the past 5 or 6 years back, maybe UPSC will not ask. But since the nature of paper is changing, so that's why we will be discussing about this index also in detail. Next article is related to PM E-Drive scheme. So here context is not much important, but it is very important to know the basic provisions of PM E-Drive scheme. And finally, a very small but important topic. Here we shall be discussing the concept of pyro processing. What is pyro processing? In which kind of industries it can be used, etc., etc. And finally, a practice question. So let's start our discussion. So here the context is reforms taken by the Indian government to expand the foreign participation in GSECs or the government securities. So here the main focus of the government is to attract more and more foreign portfolio investment in the GSEC market or government securities market. So please have a basic understanding of foreign investments in India. So one kind of foreign investment can be FDI, and other kind of foreign investment in India can be FPI. So FDI means foreign direct investment and FPI means foreign portfolio investment or foreign institutional investment. So in this article, the government is focusing to attract more and more foreign portfolio investment. That means foreign investment in the financial assets, for example, securities, or for example, in the stock market. So this is the main focus of the article. To to promote the foreign investment in government securities, what all things government has done? First thing is government has given the tax exemption on the interest income. So if we are talking about bonds or any security, so if you are issuing bond, you will be getting the money, and for that you will be paying the interest. So earlier, the foreign companies or foreign investors had to pay the tax also on the interest. So here government has given tax exemption. Second kind of tax exemption is on the capital gains tax, that is long term as well as short term capital gain. Next exemption or next benefit which is given is the expansion of fully accessible route for the foreign investors. So we shall be discussing what is the concept of fully accessible route. And finally, there are some kind of relaxations which are provided for the investments. So quickly, first of all, let's discuss about the government securities. Basically, what are government securities? So see, if we talk about the government of India, so as you know, the government of India has various objectives, has various duties. For example, government want to build various social economic infrastructure. For example, if we say, for example, infrastructures like school, hospitals, etc. So to build all these kind of infrastructure, government needs money. And as you know that many a times India will be in the deficits in current account also as well as capital account also. So to do all these duties, so to ensure the welfare in the country, the government will try to borrow, because since government needs money, government will try to borrow. Now, instead of borrowing from the banks, what government will do? Government will borrow from the foreign investors, or therefore that matter, government can borrow from different kind of investors. So these investors can be within India also, and these investors can be outside India also. So here, what government will do? That instead of taking loans from the bank, government will ask the investors to invest in the securities or to invest in the bonds. So see here, what government will do? For example, government, yes, just a second. Yes. So for example, government has issued a security of 1 lakh rupees for the tenure of 10 years. Okay, so here what government will say to the investors, that we want money, so we are issuing this government security to you. So in the return of the security, give us 1 lakh rupees, and for all the 10 years we will be paying you the interest for year after year, and at the end of the 10 years we will be returning you the principal amount also. So this is the concept of security. This is how any security works. So basically security is a kind of bond only, right? Because bond is a kind of instrument where if you require money, you will issue the bond or that certificate. In return of that, you will be getting the money and you will be paying the interest based on of what tenure the bond is. So basically, government security is a type of bond only. This bond is issued by the government of India or government of any state. So this is the concept of government securities. So here, for example, government has issued the bond of 1 lakh rupees. So government will say to the investors that I will be paying you the interest year after year, and at the end of 10 years, I'll be paying you the complete money. So yes, if we talk that who all can buy the government securities. So just now I discussed that government securities can be bought by anyone. For example, banks can also buy government securities. Insurance companies can also buy government securities. Any individual in this country can buy government securities. And apart from that, foreigners can also invest in government securities. Please remember, this is very, very important point, that foreigners can also invest in government securities in India. And what are the purpose? What are the purpose to attract foreign investment? Because if foreign investment is coming in India, then more and more dollars will be coming in India. And if more and more dollars are coming in India, then the value of Indian rupee will be stabilized. So this is the overall concept of government securities. So here, if we talk about the definition, so government securities are the tradable debt instruments which are issued by the central government or the state government. Please remember, government securities can be issued either by the central government or by the state government. What is their main purpose? Their main purpose is to raise funds for the public projects. So please remember all these things. You have to remember the definition also. You have to remember also that who all can invest in the government securities. Now, since we are talking about the government security, so for exam perspective, it is very important to know various kind of government securities. So basically, even if UPSC asks any objective type of question in prelims, for that you must at least know the 5 basic types of government securities. If UPSC goes in deep, then we will also discuss the securities in deep. Today we will do of both these things, but at least at the superficial level, you must know all the 5 types of government securities. So please just remember the name. UPSC can simply ask the question. Consider the following instruments 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Which of the above are the government securities? So at least you must have a basic idea of the names. So first is the T-bills or the treasury bills. Second kind of security is the CMBs or the cash management bills. Third type of security is the dated government securities. Fourth is the state development loans or the SDLs, and fifth is the special government securities. Now, before going into detail about these government securities, please remember about a basic and very important fact, that any government security will be issued by the RBI or the Reserve Bank of India on behalf of central government or state government, depending on which government is issuing that security. So please remember, in India, any type of government security will be issued by the RBI, that is Reserve Bank of India, on behalf of that particular government. Now, let's quickly go into detail about first kind of GSEC or government security, that is T-bills. The first important thing is that this is a short-term instrument. Short-term instrument means any instrument which is issued for within 365 days, means any instrument which is issued for less than 1 year. That kind of instrument we will call as short-term borrowing instrument. So here, maturity we are already discussing. Either it can be 3 months, 6 months, or it can be for less than 1 year, complete 364 days. Next important thing is very, very important for the exam, that these securities are zero coupon securities. So this is a confusion, right? Because just now we discussed about the concept of government securities, and what we discussed, that if government want money, government will issue that certificate, and for all the 10 years, government will be paying the interest. But here what we are discussing, that in T-bills, no interest or no coupon will be paid. Then how this will work? So this will work because T-bills are issued at discount but redeemed at face value. This is very, very important concept. Because see, let's discuss what is the meaning of this. If we talk about the T-bills, no, so here it is saying that we will not pay any interest, but it will be issued at the discount. So for example, the face value of any T-bill or any government security is 100 rupees, right? Now, if a company A is giving 100 rupees to government of India. Now, in normal situation, government of India will say that for every year, I will be paying you 5% as interest rate. That means 5 rupees every year I will pay you as interest rate. Now, if we talk about the T-bills, so what will happen here? Since no interest is involved, so what company A will do? Company A will issue a bond of rupees 100 only. So the face value of bond will be 100 rupees, but it will be given to government of India at 95 rupees. Understood? So the face value of the bond is 100 rupees, but for the certificate of 100 rupees, government of India will be getting only 95 rupees, because since no interest is involved, so we have to balance everything. Because in this situation, what was happening? Government of India was getting 100 rupees, and after in that 5% have to be paid for interest. So in net value, what government of India was getting? 95. So same thing is happening here. But the difference is, since no interest is involved, so bond itself is issued at the discounted value. But when the government of India has to return the entire principal plus interest back, no, so then 100 rupees will only be returned, because they are issued at the discount, but they will be returned at the face value. So now I think you got the concept. So please remember, for the T-bills, since there is no coupon or interest rate involved, that's why they will be issued at the discounted rate only. Now, second type of bill is the CMBs, or that is cash management bills. So cash management bills are also known as ultra short instrument. So since they are short instrument, then obviously they will be issued for less than 1 year. But here they are issued for less than, 3 months. So less than 91 days. So here, since they are short, they will be for less than 1 year. Since they are ultra short, they will be less than three. They will be for less than 3 months, and they are the recent instruments only. So they were introduced in 2010. Now, next thing is, these kind of instruments are similar to T-bills, but since they are issued for more less time, they are more flexible. Flexible means any time the person can demand the money, or any time government of India can return that certificate. Can government of India can return the money anytime when the government of India wants, or when the particular person wants. Next thing is, it helps manages the temporary cash shortages, because since it is more flexible than the T-bills. Next kind of government security is the dated government securities. So see, the word dated itself means long term. So dated government securities means long term government bonds or long term government securities. So see, here the maturity is at least for 5 years. So maturity can vary from 5 years to 40 years. Here interesting point is that here interest rate is fixed also, floating also, means sometimes it can change also, sometimes it can remain fixed also, and the interest is paid semi annually basis. Please remember, here the interest is involved, unlike T-bills, which does not involve any coupon or interest. In dated government securities, interest are involved. So, to what kind of entities these securities are suitable? These are suitable for the long-term investors who want long-term gains, who want long-term returns. For example, banks, insurance companies, mostly these kind of entities invest in the dated government securities. And what all things will come under dated government securities? So, for example, fixed rate bonds, for example, floating rate bonds, because here interest rate can remain fixed also, interest rate can be floating also. Next kind of government security is the state development loans. So please remember, all the securities which we have discussed just now, these securities are issued by the central government. State development loans are kind of government securities which are issued by a particular state government. But then also these securities will be issued by RBI, because in beginning only we just discussed, right, that all type of government securities will be issued by RBI on behalf of central government or state government. So this will be the concept of state development loans, that SDLs are a kind of government security which are issued by the respective state governments. They are also managed by RBI. And what will be the main objective of these state development loans? The main objective will be to finance the fiscal deficit. So fiscal deficit, as you already know, the government is expending more than it is earning. So to finance that fiscal deficit, to finance the deficit, government will be using the state development loans. Interesting thing about these state development loans is, compared to government securities, these kind of securities will offer slightly higher interest rate, because for investors there must be some kind of attraction, right? Because everyone considers that the security issued by the central government are the most safe securities, so everyone will be investing in those securities only. So state governments want to issue the security, so they must provide any attraction to the investors. So that's why these kind of securities have slightly higher interest rate than government securities. And since these are issued by the government, either central government or state government, but it is issued by the government, so they are relatively safe, as well as default risk is very less. Now, last kind of security is the special government security. Special government security, the special word only says that these kind of securities are issued for any particular purpose. For example, here example is given like the bank recapitalization. So, for example, this is a bank A, and this bank does not have the enough funds to fulfill the financial regulations. So a bank must have a particular amount of reserve, so that we can say that people money is safe in that bank. So to ensure all these things, sometimes bank recapitalization bonds are issued. So for all these kind of specific purposes, special government securities can be issued. Important thing here is that they can carry interest rates. So unlike T-bills, these all bonds can carry interest rates. So it can be fixed also, it can be concessional also. So I think we discussed in detail about all type of government bonds here. Now, if we discuss about the quick comparison just for the prelims. So yes, if we talk about the maturity, we already discussed that T-bills will be for less than 1 year. Cash management bills will be for less than 3 months. Dated government securities already say that it is dated, that means long term, so it will be 5 to 40 years. If we talk about the state development loans, so these will also be for medium to long term only. So here also you can consider some 5 years, 10 years, etc. And special government securities depends on the purpose. So exact maturity you cannot say. If we talk about the issuer, so for all type of securities except state development loans, issuer will be central government. But yes, if we talk about the state development loans as well as special government securities, so state development loans will be issued by the state government only. Special government securities depend on the case by case basis, that if it can be issued by the central also, it can be issued by the state also. Now, if we talk about the interest payment, then please remember that in T-bills, no interest payment is involved. We just discussed. Yes, if we talk about the cash management bills, so here also please remember that in cash management bills, no kind of interest is involved. Please remember, in T-bills as well as in cash management bills, no kind of interest is involved. If we talk about the government securities, state development loans, as well as special government securities, in all these three, some kind of interest will be involved. So it can be fixed also, it can be floating also. Now coming to the purpose. So I think purpose we already discussed. For T-bills, it will be short-term liquidity needs. For cash management bills, since these are ultra short instrument, these are the instrument for very less amount of time, so mainly they will be used to manage the temporary cash mismatches. If we talk about dated government securities, so here main purpose will be to ensure long term borrowing needs. If we talk about state development loans, so here important objective will be to finance these state development projects in fiscal deficit. And finally, if we talk about special government securities, so here main objective will be the targeted fiscal or poverty interventions. That means, as we already discussed, that it depends on the requirement. What is the requirement of the time? Yes. So in the news, in the context, we already discussed that government have provided some kind of exemptions in order to attract foreign investment in the government securities. So what are those changes? Just quickly we will discuss. So earlier, what was the tax regime in India? That if any investor is investing in government securities, so for that he will be earning the interest rate, right? Like we took the example of the government security for 10 years. So for all the 10 years, the any entity will be earning the interest rate. Now, in India, if any foreigner is earning the interest rate on government securities, then earlier he had to pay the interest on that income also. So now government has exempted foreign entities, that is foreign portfolio investors or foreign institutional investors, from that interest income. So now no longer any tax will be applied on the interest income. So here earlier interest income, tax on the interest income was 20%, but now there will be nil. Second thing is, earlier on short-term capital gains, 30% tax was charged, but now on short-term as well as long-term, no type of tax has been charged, or no type of income will be charged. So see, if we talk about the capital gain, so capital gain means, for example, a bond is of 100 rupees, and so a person A buys a bond of 100 rupees, but after 1 year, person sells the bond for 120 rupees. So here, this 20 rupees is the capital gain for person A. So earlier tax was charged on this type of capital gain. So for short term, it was 30%. For long term, it was 12.5%. So now all these things have become zero. So there will be no income on government securities. There will be no tax on interest on government securities. There will be no tax on capital gains in India. So these were some of the benefits which are given for the foreign investors in India. Yes. Now, other reforms which government has done, that now the foreign investors are allowed to invest in government securities through fully accessible route. So fully accessible route you can consider as a kind of VIP route for the foreign investors in India, because earlier if foreign investors had to invest in the government securities, then there were some of the limitations. For example, you cannot invest a huge amount in the government securities, or you cannot hold the government securities for very long period. So there were some of the limitations, but now under the fully accessible route, it provides the open access channel to the foreign entities in India. So here foreign entities can invest in the government securities without any restrictions which were applicable under general route. So if UPSC asked in the prelims that fully accessible route was recently in news, it is related to what? So fully accessible route is related to investment in the government securities by the foreign investors, that is foreign institutional investors or foreign portfolio investors. So this is the basic summary of what all we have discussed. So you can download the PDF and you can revise. I think in 2018, UPSC has asked a question on the government securities. So this was the question. RBI, or Reserve Bank of India, manages and services Government of India securities, but not any state government securities. So just now we discussed that RBI manages security of both kind of government. So this option will be wrong. So if this is wrong, we are left with these two options. Now, T-bills are issued by the Government of India, and there are no T-bills issued by the state governments. Next is T-bills are issued at the discount from the par value. So see, third option, you already know that third option is correct. Yes. So I think, yes, so we already read all these statements. So here, this we just now discussed. And I think third statement also we discussed that it is issued at the discount at par value. And if we talk about T-bills are issued by which entity, so this also we discussed just now, that which entity will issue the T-bills. So here we discussed, yes. So here just now we discussed about the issuer of T-bills. So who is the issuer of T-bills? Issuer of T-bills is the central government. So here this statement will be wrong. So basically here your answer will be B. So this question was on the very basic statements. Just you needed to have the basic idea about the government securities as well as type of government securities. Now, second article is related to Panchayat Advancement Index. So the news is recently Panchayat Advancement Index have won the gold recognition at National E-Governance Awards 2026. So not everything is important here, just you must have a basic idea about Panchayat Advancement Index. Yes, so here if we talk about this index, the important thing is that this Panchayat Advancement Index is a flagship initiative of Ministry of Panchayat Raj. So any flagship initiative of Government of India will become very important for prelims or for the mains. So what is Panchayat Advancement Index? It is a flagship initiative. It will come under which ministry? So it will come under Ministry of Panchayati Raj. Now this index have won a gold award, and under what category it won that award? The category was digital transformation through the use of data analytics. So let's discuss in detail. So what is the purpose of Panchayat Advancement Index? So I think a few days back we discussed about the logistics port performance index, right? So there, what was the purpose of that index? Purpose was to assess the performance and to promote, to encourage the ports which are not performing well, and to incentivize the states to incentivize the ports which are performing well. So same objective is here. So its objective is to assess and rank the gram panchayats based on their performance, so that it will create a kind of competition among the gram panchayats to increase their efficiency, to increase their state, to improve their status. So here what will happen? First of all, this index will collect data. Based on data collection, performance will be assessed and score or ranking will be given. So now, for any flagship initiative or for any important index which is released by Government of India, the parameters are very important. That on what kind of parameters the performance of panchayats will be assessed. So what are those parameters? The first parameter is the poverty-free and enhanced livelihood. So what is the status, or what is the status of the reduction in poverty in that particular area, and what is the status of the livelihood in that area. Second is health and well-being. So what is the status of public health centers in particular area? What is the improvement? Also, how ASHA workers are working in that area? All these things. Next is water sufficient panchayat. So what is the status of the quantity as well as water quality in that panchayat area? Next is clean and green panchayat. So what is the status of the what we can say, what is the status of the pollution level in that panchayat? Next is child friendly panchayat. That means whether children can study freely, or whether children can move freely, or whether children are feeling very safe in that panchayat. Next is self sufficient infrastructure. Self sufficient infrastructure means any kind of building does not have to be dependent on no other person or other kind of operation to be very well operational. So for example, the green buildings will be example of self sufficient infrastructure. Next is socially just and socially secured panchayat. So there you must take care about the old age persons also in that panchayat. Next is the good governance. That means what is the status of the grievance redressal at panchayat. And finally, women friendly panchayat. That means what is the status, to what extent the women in that panchayat are feeling safe. So here these are the performance categories under which the performance of panchayats will be judged. So actually this performance categories is also important for the exam. So what are those categories? So first will be the achiever. This will be the highest category, and lowest category will be beginner. So starting from the beginner, then aspirant, then performer, then front runner, and finally the achiever. So any panchayat who will be getting the score of 90 or above, that panchayat will be considered as achiever, and score below 40 will be considered for the beginner. Okay, so this is the image I have attached. So you can revise through this image and let's see if we have missed anything. So yes, since we were discussing that this index has got the gold award, so here award will be presented at the National Conference on E-Governance, and this award will be presented in Jaipur, Rajasthan. This complete event will be organized by the Ministry of Electronics and Department of Grievance Redressal in association with Government of Rajasthan. So I think these were the important things. Now, next article is related to PM e-drive scheme. So, context is not much important. Context is that Delhi government have decided to induct around 2,800 low-floor electric buses in the city's fleet, and this will be under PM e-drive scheme. So, for us, what is important? It is important is to know the basic provisions about the PM e-drive scheme. So, what is the main provision or what about this scheme? First of all, you must know the full form. So what is PM Drive scheme? It is PM Electric Drive Revolution in Innovative Vehicle Advancement, or the PM E-Drive scheme. So basically, the main purpose of this scheme is to promote the use of more and more electric vehicles in India. So its main purpose is to incentivize all the people in this country to use more and more electric vehicles and to reduce the use of fossil fuels in their vehicles. So this was the full form. Now it is very important for you to know the ministry, because UPSC generally confuses with the type of ministry. Maybe it can confuse with the Ministry of Electronics, or it may confuse with the Ministry of Renewable Energy or the Ministry of Power. So please remember, the ministry involved here is the Ministry of Heavy Industry. Aim we already discussed. Its main aim is to promote electric mobility in India. How? By accelerating EV adoption. So here government will be providing various kind of incentives so that people will be attracted towards the EV adoption. Please remember the timeline. So duration for this scheme will be from 2024 to 2026. Now, if we talk about the eligible categories here, that who all entities will be eligible for PM Drive scheme. So eligible entities will be electric buses like e-buses. Next will be the three-wheelers, electric three-wheelers. Next will be electric two-wheelers. After that, e-ambulances. After that, e-trucks and other new emerging EV categories. After that, charging infrastructures, and finally, testing agencies under Ministry of Heavy Industries. So please remember the eligible categories also for PM e-drive scheme. Now, let's discuss some of the provisions related to the scheme. So, see, just now I discussed that government is trying to promote the more and more adoption of electric vehicles. So, for that, what government is doing? First thing is, government is providing these subsidies. So, what kind of subsidies? These will be the demand incentives. Demand incentives means government is providing incentives so that more and more people demand the electric vehicles. So first is so one is demand incentive. So if government is giving more and more incentives, people will demand. And second is the supply incentive. That means the government is encouraging the suppliers to produce more. Here, demand incentives means government is incentivizing people to buy more electric vehicles. So here, demand incentives will be provided for all the eligible categories. So these categories we just discussed just now. Now, please remember that incentives will be capped per vehicle or at 15% of the ex factory price. See, what is the meaning for that? See, government will decide a particular amount, that for a particular vehicle we will be providing this amount of financial incentive. Now, either this amount of financial incentive or 15% of the ex factory price, in these whichever will be less. So government will be providing that financial incentive. Ex factory price means price of the vehicle when it is leaving the factory. So here you will not include any GST, here you will not include any insurance price, etc. So this is the case. Now, grants will be provided for the creation of capital assets also. Capital assets, for example, acquisition of e-buses or the establishment of network of charging stations. So for all these things, for the creation of all these assets also, grants will be provided. Now, a very small topic about the pyro processing. So it is very important just to know the concept. So see, if we talk about this concept of pyro processing, so pyro processing we can break in two words. For example, pyro. Pyro means fire, and processing means to change the form. To change the form. So basically, pyro processing means you are heating a material to very high temperature so that it changes its form, either physically or chemically. So example can be, for example, you have a wet clay. Now you are putting this wet clay in hot oven, and in that it becomes brick. So here the nature or the quality of that particular substance has changed. And how it has changed? Because we subjected that substance to very high temperature. So this is the meaning of pyroprocessing, very simple meaning. So here it is a dry and very energy intensive process. So here it is a way to change a solid material physically or chemically using the high temperatures. So now it is very important to know the industrial applications also. Then that in which kind of industries it can be used. So if we talk about the cement industry, so in cement industry, what will happen? In cement industry, the substances like lime, clay, iron, all these substances you will feed in the oven, or what we call as rotary kiln, and in that they will be heated to very high temperature, and after heating to the very high temperature their form will be changed into marble sized nodules called as clinker, and from that clinker only cement will be produced. So industrial application is very important. You can use this kind of content in mains also. Next kind of industry can be the metallurgical sector. So in metallurgical sector, how this pyroprocessing can be used? This pyroprocessing can help to extract the metals from their ores. So from ores, you can extract the metals using pyroprocessing. So here how you can do that? For example, if we talk about the sulfide ore, so I'm not going into detail because there are various processes through which you can separate the metals from their ores. So here I am taking the example of sulfide ore. So sulfide ore, from sulfide ore you can separate the metal using the process of roasting. Roasting means heating in the presence of air. So when you are roasting, it will be converted into metal oxides. So what is happening here? You are heating the ore, then it is converting into metal oxide. So it is changing the form. So this is the one of the application in the metallurgical sector. Next is about the nuclear industries. This is very important because in nuclear industry, the application of pyroprocessing is that it will extract the useful matter from the nuclear fuel, from the nuclear waste fuel. So here, what it will help in? It will help to recover the extra amount of nuclear fuel from the wastage. So here it will increase the efficiency of that process. So here the operators can recover the elements of interest in the separate streams using this process of pyroprocess. So this was very small article, but no, anywhere in prelims or mains it can be used. Now a question for you, practice question for you. So consider the following statements regarding government securities. First is, they are debt instruments issued by the central or state government. Second, they can carry sovereign guarantee regarding payment of principal and interest. Third is, T-bills and government bonds are both examples of government securities. So I think government securities we discussed in very detail. So please try to give answer of that question in the comment section. So that's all from my side for today. Thank you and have a nice day.